Okay, guys, welcome back to another live stream. I know I haven't streamed in a really long time. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I've been getting up to a lot of different things. So that's why I haven't streamed. I'm actually in Paris right now for Fashion Week, but I thought it would be great to talk about the state of Pharrell Williams Louis Vuitton because, you know, there's a lot that has been going on there. I didn't really talk about I didn't talk about the resort show for obvious reasons, but I definitely did want to talk about this show. But before I continue, let me know what your thoughts were. What did you guys think of the actual show? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think? I'm curious to know what you guys think. Ayo in the all black dark room. It's mysterious. It's mysterious. It's all dark, but you can see my face because I have this spooky light on my face. Okay, Carlina says, unremarkable except for a few looks. The show was the definition of a 7 out of 10, something we will forget very soon. Damn, that's crazy. Miguel says, I liked it, nothing too crazy, but was good. Lots of good bags. I totally agree with this, by the way. I did see a lot of good bags, which is something I'll talk about. But why were they outside in this heat? Good point, because it's really hot in Paris right now. Very good point. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's kind of jump straight into the ideas for this collection. Joshua says it was refreshing, good departure from the overbranding. Oh, I have something to say. I beg to differ slightly. I have something different to say, but let's get straight into it and then I'll tell you kind of exactly what I thought. So let me do it this way actually, so it can look like semi-decent. Yeah, let's do it that way. So essentially, there's so many different aspects to talk about when we talk about this collection. I think the first thing to talk about is Louis Vuitton kind of is rolling with this idea of brown is the new indigo. So this is from Pharrell's official, Instagram page. They kind of want to turn this shade of brown. And people in general have been saying that, brown as a color is something that a lot of these brands are focusing on and using these days. So they're trying to turn brown into their sort of at least the Louis Vuitton menswear color for denim, which is kind of interesting. It's very interesting. I think brown is a color that we associate a lot with workwear and a working thing. And when you look at a lot of stuff that Pharrell Williams has put on the runway in the past for Louis Vuitton, there is a lot of workwear. There are those, Carhartt looking jackets, a lot of the boots that he made early on, a lot of the denim pieces. So there is like a workwear utilitarian theme to a lot of his work. So having this idea of, even Western too, which someone said, which you can kind of see it as workwear because, working with horses and stuff. So there is kind of that vibe with Pharrell, and this sort of colorway is what they're going for. Why is it really important to mention this brown color? Because it was such a big part of, the color palette in this collection. But moving on, some of the other ideas. So a big idea in this collection actually is snakes and ladders. So when you look at the actual set for the runway show, it's all in a snake and ladder. And of course, the different boxes on the set have been turned into the damier check, of course. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, Pharrell loves the damier at this point. He uses it on absolutely everything. So that's something he did for the set. I actually really loved the set, to be honest. I thought that was really cool. Them doing the whole snakes and ladders thing. This was actually, they made this whole thing in collaboration with Bijoy Jain, who is from Studio Mumbai, Indian architect, really well known, really respected, really famous. And they essentially made this campaign video where they were talking about the importance of snakes and ladders as a game, the symbolism that it has, this idea of, full exposure to creativity, but not knowing the outcome, because 9 times out of 10, if you play snakes and ladders, obviously you don't know the outcome. It's all about luck. So they kind of try to tie this into this idea of creativity where essentially you're kind of just creating and you don't really know what you're going to find or where you're going to go. But at the end of it, you create something that, you know, you're happy with, or you come to an end conclusion, like a game of snakes and ladders. So it's kind of the way that they've used snakes and ladders is kind of symbolic. But then when you look at the stuff on the runway, there are just animals, you know, sewn into the garments all over the place. So I like the idea. I don't like the way it was executed. I think it was a bit too obvious and a bit too on the nose, to be honest. That's what I thought. But the concept was cool. I have to say, I did like the concept. This is another picture of the set in terms of this Louis Vuitton Snakes and Ladders game. I wonder if they're going to have some, you know, Louis Vuitton edition Snakes and Ladders games. That would be very interesting. You can spend 5,000 euros or dollars on an overpriced game of Snakes and Ladders just because it has a dummy check and, you know, Louis Vuitton dice, like what we're seeing on the Instagram page. I wonder if those are actually going to be for sale, like these things here. And this is it probably is, because this is basically a dice holder. So turned into sort of a keychain. So actually, probably they're going to sell it. They're definitely going to sell it. I wonder, I'm so curious. And guys, when this comes out on their website, please someone send it to me online. I really want to know how much they're going to sell this for. Really, really odd. That's weird. At the end of the show, Pharrell showed up with more interesting personal style more than his whole collection. Yeah, of course, now we're going to talk about the show. In the grand scheme of things, in the hierarchy of Pharrell shows, I think it's somewhere in the middle. This is definitely better than almost all of his resort shows. But there are some shows from Pharrell that I really liked. I really liked the Western show. I thought that was really cool. There are a lot of elements that I really enjoyed in that collection. I think his debut collection has grown on me. I think, do you know what it is with Pharrell, right? The problem with Pharrell as a designer is that Pharrell has really cool ideas, but he overdoes it. And I don't think he knows how to build a narrative correctly when it comes to a runway show. He just kind of puts products on the runway. And the narrative is almost like fighting the clothes in a way, or they're going in opposite directions. Whereas compare that to Virgil Abloh, who was there before him. Virgil Abloh knows how to weave concepts and ideas into the fabric of a collection, and at the same time, he doesn't repeat the same idea. Look to look to look to look. Pharrell Williams is the kind of designer that will be like, okay, this collection, we are inspired by cherry blossoms, and then half of the looks are pink, and the other looks have like floral prints on them. That's the kind of designer he is. So he really, really, really lacks range as a designer. And it really shows in the show, like it extremely shows. But the good thing about Pharrell is I like his personal style. So his personal style I'm always going to enjoy. Something on the runway that I did also enjoy is him bringing that silhouette that he personally wears. You know, that silhouette with the flared trousers. I like those. I would wear those 100%. Those are what Pharrell wears himself. And I think that in menswear, we need many other silhouettes other than just, you know, plain straight trousers or skinnies for men. I think men, we can experiment more. So I do like that in that sense, kind of Louis Vuitton being one of the biggest brands in fashion. I'm actually bringing different silhouettes to men. That was cool. I did enjoy that. So let's get into the garments. Here you have kind of like a nice, cool little suit going on there. There's parts of it that I really want to show you guys because I just did not understand what was going on with those parts of the runway show. Okay, cool. So you guys can see on the suit behind, when you look, it says L.V.M has been embroidered on the suit, right? And in my head, I was just thinking the whole time, like, if you buy a suit, why would you want, like, why? Why would you want L.V.M embroidered that boldly into your blade? Like, why would you want that? Like, yes, we understand Louis Vuitton men's, but what? Why? It just, and there were so many pieces where this like unnecessary branding absolutely decimated how good the pieces were. In this collection, and you guys will see it, there's a really cool coat. I think it was red or burgundy around that color, but we'll get there, that I really liked. I thought it looked absolutely amazing. And then it just had some Louis Vuitton branding plastered on it, and it just looked terrible. So first red flag, all the pieces that have the L.V.M thing, atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. The silhouette of these pieces were nice. I did like those. People are saying in the chat that, the bags are really good. I absolutely love the bags. I like that Pharrell Williams has, made the Louis Vuitton Speedy like a big thing for men. Obviously, it's always been a big thing in general for Louis Vuitton, but I think in the sense of menswear, I haven't seen this many men wear Louis Vuitton Speedy bags until Pharrell Williams came and gave us Speedies in all different colors. Also, so this thing here is really important. Obviously, we have to talk about bags a lot because that's what sells. So I think it's really indicative of the market. So what Pharrell Williams shines in and what he's been doing at his time at Louis Vuitton is this soft leather. He likes to work a lot with soft leather. So he takes things that are historically supposed to be really structured. So things like a trunk, right? A trunk is supposed to have a really structured shape. It's supposed to be really hard. And then he uses like a soft leather. And that's why when you see models holding it, they scrunch it up to accentuate that he used the soft leather to make those like miniature trunks. So that's really cool because that's also something that he does with his Speedies that people really like, right? It's the fact that he uses this really soft leather. So the shape is actually really unstructured, which is kind of cool. And he also has those in crazy ass colors. But yeah, let's watch on. Let's watch on. Let's see. Okay, Lucas saying I thought the M was for Maletier, Louis Vuitton Maletier. That means that's Atelier, no? Either way, it looks tacky. Whether it's Louis Vuitton Men's or Louis Vuitton Atelier, it still looks awful. I don't know. I actually do not know anyone that. Oh, it means trunk maker. Okay, I don't know anyone that wants a suit with bold letters embroidered on the chest. Like, I genuinely do not know anyone that like wants that. I can't even imagine the kind of people that would buy that sort of thing. Like, why would you buy a suit like that? Like, this stuff is really cool because it's really nice shape. The lapel almost, well, it basically is a night jacket at this point. With the silk lapel and the way it is kind of shawl like a dinner jacket. But that's cool. And the shape of the trousers, once again, I really like those, the way they flare out. Anglifish says the lettering is so simplistic too, it looks cheap. Damn. It does show on the debossed leather on some pieces, it seems. Interesting. This Pharrell does every show. This is Pharrell's way of, making us remember that Louis Vuitton is actually a trunk maker and putting it in our heads that, oh, remember the heritage of the brand, guys. But he does this in every collection. I do kind of like how he plays around with the different trunks, like the detailing on the trucks are really cool. I wish there was more information on those because I know a big aspect to this show was one, the fact that he used an Indian architect. The soundtrack was Indian. So I'm wondering if there's a big focus on the Indian market. Obviously, in previous streams, we've talked about the importance of the Indian market. We've talked about, how big the Indian economy is right now, the fact that it's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It's also a top 5 economy in the world. So it's one of those, little untapped markets in fashion that could be really, I don't want to say the word I was going to use, I won't use that, but it can really be revitalized as a market, especially a luxury market. Everything Indian but the clothes. True. True. Okay, I think the jacket that I was talking about initially is coming, where I said it was absolutely decimated by the actual, yes, this. So this jacket I actually think is really nice. I love the shape of it. I like the silhouette. I like the hardware, the custom hardware with the LV. That's really cool. But why the Louis Vuitton text? Like, why? Why? If someone wants to buy like a really nice, well-made jacket like this, it's less timeless when it has that Louis Vuitton thing just kind of printed there. Like, why? Are people really brand whores to that level that they need Louis Vuitton plastered on every single piece that they wear just because it's LV? Just the hardware alone is enough for people to know, if they want to look close enough, that it's a Louis Vuitton piece. We do not need the text print printed on top of it, on top of that. I just think that absolutely destroyed it. And that's my issue sometimes with a lot of the Pharrell Williams piece. It's just too much branding. Like even the text on that Damier small bag, it just it's just like, God. The bags are really nice though. Not all of them, but a lot of the bags I really did enjoy. I really, really did enjoy. That gradient print bag is something he's been doing for a while, so I've gotten used to that. Once again, let me just bring that back slightly. When we were talking earlier about Louis Vuitton saying that brown is the new indigo, so these kind of shades of brown is what they're going for, and moving forward, this is kind of the color that they want their denim to be. This is kind of like the menswear house code now under Pharrell Williams, and it's kind of what we're going to remember him for, especially with denim. Like 10 years from now, when you see people wearing Louis Vuitton denim that kind of has that brown tint to it, you know it's Pharrell Williams era. But yeah, that's kind of a big focus. LVM text print is for pretentious people. Jeez. LV's customized the logo hall for sure. Damn. That's crazy. Once again, you can see the model scrunching the bags up to emphasize the soft leather that Pharrell Williams is using. I do like that he does that and he gets the models to do that, by the way. It really, really pushes his idea forward. Yeah, I agree with you, Imani. They need to embrace subtlety, 100%. Did someone say it reminds me of a Miri? That's crazy. Another gradient thing going on there with the damier check. And you see, this is what I mean about like Pharrell. We understand that the damier is, you know, a very Louis Vuitton thing. We get it, but it's this idea that we're going to plaster it on the back. It's already the set, and it's now on all the bags. It's just like, how about some other ideas? That's my big issue. One thing I thought was really interesting, I'd like some more info on how they made, you know, this hood, because this detailing mirrors the detailing on some of the trunks and one of the Speedies too that I thought was cool. I'm not sure if that's going to go into production, to be honest. The ones that are going to be in production most likely are the striped ones, like these ones here, with the unnecessary branding on them once again. If there weren't any LV logos, people would complain they're trying to be Bottega or these other quite luxury brands. So I'm guessing that's why. Really? I'm not sure. I like the color combinations, but the clothes are like ugly as hell. Damn. Yeah, but the set is great. Obviously, the soundtrack is amazing. It's Pharrell. I mean, his sound. I don't think I've ever watched a Louis Vuitton show under Pharrell Williams, and the soundtrack hasn't been great. They've been slowly showing us that detailing before, like the pearl embroidery and the first show. Yeah, that's why, like I said, I'd like some more information about kind of the techniques that they used to make those pieces, because I know it'll be interesting. It really would be. But yeah, so this is what I mean once again when it comes to Pharrell Williams. There's always going to be cool stuff because I mean it's a Louis Vuitton show. I think that he's really great at, you know, this is what I was saying once again about the animals like plastered everywhere and on the trunks and on a lot of the pieces. So it's really, there's cool pieces, but it seems like Pharrell Williams as a designer, he's very, very devoid of ideas, honestly. Like he's just, every single show I see from Pharrell, it just proves more and more and more that he's just not really a designer. He's more of like a, kind of what he did before he became creative director of Louis Vuitton. He's more of like a he has an eye. I also think Pharrell Williams has a very, very high taste level, which is why his personal style is so good. His taste in everything from grills to cars to clothes is always really good. But yeah, like a curator, kind of what Michael was saying. But it takes a different type of creativity, and you have to tap into a different kind of design skill to be a designer and be interesting. I think he doesn't have that. His ideas are always really basic. There aren't layers to his work. He also repeats the same ideas, but not even like because I think there's nothing wrong with repeating ideas if the idea that you have is complex, or if from a pattern making standpoint is really complex. So let's use Rick Owens, for example. Rick Owens' pattern making is really complex at times. That's why he references designers like Madeleine Vionnet, right? He uses a lot of the bias cuts when it comes to the women's wear stuff. So he can have, and Rick Owens has basically had the same aesthetic for a really long time, but it works because it's a very distinctive aesthetic. A lot of what Pharrell Williams puts on the runway could be many other brands. So there's no USP, there's no unique selling point apart from, you just want to support Pharrell Williams himself. And that's why you would buy Louis Vuitton. But a lot of these pieces, to be honest, I would actually go elsewhere to buy them because I don't want the crazy ass branding plastered all over my clothing. But I like the silhouette of what some of these stuff that Pharrell Williams is producing. So yeah, and every single show that happens, it just proves that point to me in my head more and more and more. He's more of a curator. I think he's more in his bag when he's curating shows and adding his 2 cents to shows and kind of helping to style things rather than actually being the creative director. Do you think that also goes for Virgil's work, but maybe to a lesser extent? Not really, because I think that when Virgil was at Louis Vuitton, like all the issues I have with Pharrell's work, I don't think that was an issue with Virgil Abloh, to be honest. I think that Virgil Abloh had cohesive ideas with his work. He had very strong narratives. Like, I still think that one of the best Louis Vuitton shows, can't even speak, from Virgil Abloh was that Tourist Purist show. That was a really good show, from the concept to the film to the set to who was in the show to the symbolism to the soundtrack to the actual garments. Like this idea of a tourist versus purist, and then having like immigrant influences in the work, because obviously Virgil Abloh is Ghanaian and his parents were Ghanaian immigrants to the US, and having those like kente cloths and then mixing that with European garment. That was such a good like Pharrell Williams could never make anything like that, because Pharrell Williams is just he's not that good of a designer. And that's not really a knock on Pharrell Williams. I've just gone talking about all the things that I think he does well, and the fact that I think his taste level is sky high. It's just different. Like, one person cannot be good at everything. Pharrell Williams is already a legend at so many things. You can't be absolutely fantastic at every single thing you touch. And fashion design just tends to be one of those things that maybe isn't Pharrell Williams's strong suit. And when you look at these shows, like even if you keep going through the show, there isn't anything of note apart from the bags. There isn't anything of note, if I'm going to be extremely honest with you. Yeah, Amen Break also. Yeah, that was really good. So yeah, I wouldn't compare Virgil Abloh to Pharrell Williams. I think they are miles apart when it comes to design, personally. When he said that's why I call his work impotent. Damn. Yeah, like Virgil understands design for sure. And to be honest, it's not like I think Pharrell Williams doesn't understand design. I think that's going a bit too far. I just think, once again, he can't, because when you're a creative director, you need to be able to design, like his shows most times have 75 or 76 looks. That's a lot of looks. That's a lot of ideas. I just don't think he has that in his locker. He has many things in his locker. If you tell Pharrell Williams to design a capsule collection of 5 looks, I think it would be amazing. Because even in his Louis Vuitton shows, there are like 7 to 8 looks that are really, really good. So if he was coming in, making capsule collections, advising on certain designs, that's where he would shine. But when you start seeing 76 look, do you guys remember the runway show that Pharrell Williams did in collaboration with Nigo that I reviewed? That didn't happen too long ago, where essentially it was Pharrell Williams and Nigo kind of going down memory lane through that collection. So they had lobsters, or like lobster bags, lobster key rings, lobster prints, lobster embroidery, because there was that story of them going, you know, lobster fishing together. And that was when they were discussing, you know, doing a collection together. But it's too much. Like having lobsters, printing that's not strong enough of an idea. Like, yeah, we are fishing lobsters. So now I'm going to have 5 bags on the runway shaped like lobsters, 5 jackets embroidered with lobsters. That's what I mean. His ideas are not deep enough. They're not, you know, they're just, the ideas just aren't really there. And then there was this idea of the fact that Nigo is from Japan. So they were thinking of different things like, you know, the sakura and all these ideas, which is why there were loads of pink looks, pink bomber jackets, pink shoes, pink trousers, pink accessories, pink speedy. But it's just, he has a tiny idea, and then at least 20 of the 70 looks will just be based on that one tiny idea. And even that idea is not interesting. Like, it's not interesting at all. Someone said it typifies NPC fashion. Like a song with just a hook. Oh my God. That is literally the perfect way of saying it. Like a song with just a hook. That is honestly the best way to summarize it, to be honest. Like how I feel sometimes when I look at his shows. And once again, like I'm saying, it's not me saying that he can't design. It just keeps proving that he's not that good of a designer. Like, compare him to everyone else that's at a big house. He's not as good as any of them. Louise Trotter, J.W. Anderson, who else is one of the designers at the big houses? The Proenza Schooler guys. He's not close to any of them, like not even remotely. Who else? Who am I forgetting? There's like loads of designers that I've totally forgotten. Had a complete brain fart, but he's not close to anyone. Like Francesco Risso, like who? He's not close to any designer in fashion right now. He just isn't. I think he struggles to bring depth to his ideas. Instead of letting us seek the meaning, he gives it to us face value, not exploring the idea further. He never tried to be a designer. He's only here because he's famous, and that's it. The answer is so simple. I still think that there are loads of people that don't train to be a designer that have grown to be good designers. I just think that Pharrell isn't one of them. But I don't think necessarily trained to be a designer is the only way to become a good designer. However, it's most good designers trained to be a designer. So there is like a very close correlation between people that study design and then actually become good designers. But there are a few people here and there that, you know, don't actually train traditionally to be designers, but they end up being good designers. Do LV men's customers want good design though? I mean, I guess so. If we think about Virgil Abloh, that was good design in my opinion. Of course, a lot of people disagree with me, but I definitely think it was good design. Pharrell will always be a better stylist than a designer. His LV tenure shows that. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. None of his work has poetry to it so far. Yeah. Yeah. I think if Pharrell wants grand success at this level of fashion, he has to find a different way to present LV menswear. The structure just emphasizes the weaknesses and his ability. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. His designs keep getting LV into lawsuits too. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and yes, Pharrell Williams is definitely a style icon. That's without debate. That's 100%. He's influenced so many people in the way so many people dress, including like rappers, artists, like so many people. But yeah, there was a piece that really annoyed me in this collection. Let me see. Let me go back because we might have missed it. I just want to highlight that specific piece to all of you guys. Like there was a piece that like really pissed me off. Nice Walter Van Beirendonk hat. Thank you very much. Virgil Abloh was a good bridge between good design and commercial desirability. Conscious design that didn't sacrifice the surface level appeal for common consumers. Logomania, colorways. I totally agree. It selling out doesn't make it good, as someone said before. People love conspicuous consumption. They're happy with their logo tees and fugly sneakers for now. Oh my god. I'm just trying to see if I can see. Basically, what it was, I'll describe it to you because, okay, it's there. I just saw it. It's that puffer jacket with the Louis Vuitton print. Now, what really annoyed me about this jacket, right? Before we continue watching this, let me just show you guys on Vogue Runway because I really want to highlight something that really annoys me about this look. So it already has the Louis Vuitton print. Why does it need the tag? Like the tag that you'd normally put, like the garment tag. I understand that they have this idea, I guess, for us playing with creating something that's on the interior and then putting it on the exterior of a garment. However, it's like we already know it's Louis Vuitton. It's like it has the print already. Just adding the tag just makes it 5 levels of tacky. So that piece really, really annoyed me. I just needed to show you guys. But anyway, let's continue watching the runway show. That piece really annoyed me so much. Just in case you didn't know if it was a Louis Vuitton piece, let's just have a print, but then also have the Louis Vuitton tag sewn and plastered on the garments. Oh my gosh. Also, yeah, it's a spring summer show, so that's crazy, by the way. It's still spring summer because by summer 2026 we'll be in a nuclear winter from all the wars. Damn, that's crazy. That piece looks like the fake LV you see in markets. I mean, it could be deliberate. I know Gucci especially has been on the forefront of reclaiming the sort of flea market Gucci pieces and kind of putting those kind of things on the runway. They haven't done it since Alessandro Michele. That was something that Alessandro Michele was playing with, this idea of like what is fake and what isn't fake, and then kind of blurring the lines between that. But Salvatore De Sano didn't really do that at Gucci. Is Demna going to bring back some of those elements? Probably, although Demna did come out and say that he's not going to do any of the stuff that he did at Balenciaga. Whether we can take, what Demna says as law, considering how many things he says and then does the complete opposite, is another conversation entirely. But yeah, conversation for another day. His actual shows are fire, though. The clothes not so much. Yeah, totally. Even some of the old shows, when he has those really cool choirs, I think his sets are always great. Granted, it has to be said that Louis Vuitton also has outrageous marketing budgets, right? So the budgets that they can spend on the set of a show is why they can make all these elaborate shows. Like someone that has a smaller brand, the clothing will have great ideas, but they can't weave in the ideas of the clothes with the set because they literally just cannot afford to have this kind of set to make the floor dummier, like snakes and ladders game, which is insane. So Leo doesn't like the choir. He has to let the choir go. Every show we get the choir. We get the choir, guys. The jacket will also definitely be on your favorite NBA player this fall. Do you know what? You're actually right, because NBA players, some of them do dress in a very diabolical way. There are some NBA players that dress well. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being someone who dresses really well. There's a few of them. But for the most part, yeah, there are going to be some of them that cop that absolutely atrocious puffer jacket. Someone's saying, can't question his music taste. Was anyone ever questioning his music taste? Something that fascinated me. So when I initially watched this show, this look really fascinated me for many reasons. So I'll go into them. One, Pharrell Williams obviously is holding a miniature Speedy bag. Are they going to start making like ultra tiny bags? And are men going to wear that? That's to be seen, but that should be interesting. It's also very interesting because you guys remember when Marc Jacobs had his debut show at Louis Vuitton, and Bernard Arnault was absolutely pissed off because obviously there were no bags in the show, and Bernard Arnault did not understand why the new bags, there's new bags on the runway. So it's very interesting that now, fast forward all these years later, there's such a big push on the accessories. And I'm very sure Pharrell Williams is a smart guy. He knows that where he excels is the accessories. So there's like such a strong push that even coming out, that there isn't really a focus most times on what people wear when they come out to kind of take a bow at shows. But Pharrell Williams is turning it to something else, where his look, when he takes a bow, is an extension of what he's trying to produce, or kind of the garments he's trying to push. That's very interesting. I just found that fascinating. 70s basketball shorts coming back. Another Speedy variant, but make it leather so we can charge an extra 5K from what a normal Speedy costs. Oh gosh. And then obviously Pharrell Williams doing his rounds, saying hello to everyone. I haven't watched the show up to this point. I know the first time I watched it. Okay, he gave the bag to Jay-Z. Interesting. That's cool. Okay, where is he going now? Is he going to? I hope he doesn't bow to Bernard Arnault. It makes me feel weird every time he bows to Bernard Arnault. I really hope he doesn't do that. ASAP Nast in the cut. Who is he hugging there? I couldn't even see who that was. Why is Corey Gamble dressed like an NY cowboy? Does that even exist? Is there such a thing as a New York cowboy? Okay, salute. Okay, cool. No Bernard Arnault bows. Thank you, Pharrell. Thank you, Pharrell. Obviously, it's not what Pharrell intended, but I kid you not, when Pharrell bowed down to Bernard Arnault in one of the previous shows, it literally gave a vibe of the black man bowing down to his master. Not saying that that's what Pharrell Williams intended or whatever. It's just how it looked. Bernard Arnault sitting down, the rich billionaire, Pharrell Williams bowing down. It just didn't look right. I didn't like the way it looked aesthetically. So yeah, it's good he didn't do that. I hope he never does that again. Luke says, I would bow to Mr. Arnault if he gave me that job. But yeah, guys, that's the Louis Vuitton show. Those are my thoughts. Jennifer says it grosses me out too. Someone is saying it's Southern hospitality. So in the South, you guys in the chat that are from the South of the US, do you guys normally bow to each other? Is that what you guys do? Galliano bow to him every show. Yeah, I don't. Why are you bowing to him? Like, he's a man. Just like go and shake him or something. Like, why are you bowing to another human? I don't know. It's just weird. Like, Bernard Arnault is not a god. He's just a man with a lot of money. Like, why bowing to someone? It's just weird. It's just really, really weird to me. He said no more credit to the design team. Oh yeah, because in the earlier Louis Vuitton shows, he would come out with the whole team. I wonder what the difference was. Because Pharrell Williams, to give him credit, he is very appreciative to his design team and he appreciates their work, because in every interview, he always talks about his team. This would not be possible without my team, which is a very different direction to what most creative directors do. You know, they literally talk about themselves and it's like, I did this and I did that. And there's not a lot of mention to the members of staff. The only people that really historically talked about their staff are people like, you know, Martin Margiela was famous for that. There are other designers that are really famous for that. So yeah, why didn't he do that this time? Strange. Someone is saying it's the Japanese influence. I guess so, but Pharrell is not Japanese. Pharrell also didn't grow up in Japan. Maybe he did get that from Nigo and, you know, going to Japan all the time, but it just looks strange because you're in Paris, you're not Japanese yourself. The man you're bowing to is French. You know. Why in Pharrell's eyes, God did this. Fairs. Fairs. But yeah, what happened to the design team? What happened to the design team? Very confusing. Damn, you guys are on one in the chat today. Pharrell has been bowing to Nigo because that's the man doing all his work. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I like to be fair. I like to be fair and honest, especially because I'm actually a fan of Pharrell. Like, I'm genuinely a fan. However, I also happen to be a fashion journalist. A lot of people also don't understand this, right? Every time, just watch, you'll see when this stream gets uploaded, there'll be so many people posting hate comments about, you're just a hater on Pharrell, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm literally a fan. I've been a fan of Pharrell since I was a kid. However, I also happen to be a fashion journalist, and I can just compare his work with all the other creative directors at big houses and see that he's at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of design acumen and how good the designs are. That's just reality. A lot of people just struggle that I can have that dichotomy. I can literally be a fan of someone and then also say that as a designer, they don't really have the chops. Exactly. He's not above the critics. Exactly. Maybe no design team because it was all him this collection. Damn. What happened to Pharrell's first collection? They will congratulate Pharrell for a job well done. As long as the product sells, the design can be unremarkable and men will still buy it. Oh yeah, of course. But sometimes I talk about business and then sometimes I talk about the creative side of things. Of course, this stream, especially when I'm reviewing runway shows, we are talking about the creative merit because at the end of the day, we all know watching this stream that most of this stuff won't go into production, to be very honest. What will go into production are the speedies and the soft trunk clutches, and everything else will have to be just, you have to order it. And then like the runway pieces, I mean, you're gonna have to order it, you're gonna have to talk to your sales associate, and that's how you're going to get it. That's the only way you can get the runway pieces. So that we're totally talking about creative merit. When it comes to sales, most of the stuff that goes on the runway is not really relevant to sales anyway, because it's not what will sell. Lol, we wait for Dici when the business is involved. Shout out to Dici. They should hire Craig Green for Vuitton men's. Yeah, Craig Green would be a good fit aesthetically. However, I don't think Craig Green is a big enough name. That's the problem. The main reason why they hired Pharrell Williams, from my understanding, is because Vasilablo did such a good job commercially and aesthetically and all that sort of stuff, helping to steer the menswear. Because to be very honest, if we're going to be very honest, if we think of a lot of people that have designed on the menswear side at Louis Vuitton, let's think of people like Kim Jones. Let's think of people like Chris Van Ash. A lot of them didn't have memorable tenures the way that Virgil Abloh did. So they had to find someone who could top that. And the only person that could top that from a popularity standpoint is Pharrell Williams, right? So it makes sense why they hired him. Craig Green wouldn't be able to garner. Like, look at the runway show. There's Jay-Z there, there's Pusha T, there's A$AP Nas. Like, Craig Green cannot bring that level of audience to the show. As much as I love Craig Green, it's just, if we're talking about, brand positioning and who they can bring to the show, that's just the reality of the situation. The only kind of people that they could have right now to top Pharrell Williams, the only person that could top Pharrell Williams now is Kanye West, but you could never hire Kanye West, or Ye, as he's called now. You could never hire Ye as a designer or a creative director for any brand because everything is going to implode. He's literally going to become the creative director, and then shortly after, he's going to be anti-Semitic or just do something insane, and then he won't be able to keep the job anyway because he's just, that's how Ye is. So there's no way they're going to hire him unless they're crazy, unless like they have literally lost the plot. Craig Green is going to have Oasis in there as the most famous attendee. Damn. Kanye West in 2025, I don't know, man. He hasn't shown us a good design in a minute. Yeah. That too, but then also just him as a person being so ultra problematic, I just cannot see how he could get a job anywhere because that guy is insane. Nobody can hire Kanye. I was at Gap at the time we brought him in, and I knew it was a bad choice. I mean, the amount of stuff that has come out about Ye is insane. The fact that he's like a porn addict and apparently, allegedly, by the way, apparently at Yeezy, he would force people to watch porn. A lot of people also said that, allegedly said that at Gap, he would force people to watch porn. So just as a person, I just think Ye is just completely and utterly tapped. And there's no way you would find him in these kind of brands anymore, to be honest. Also, Micah, stop commenting from the sideline. Come and give your thoughts instead of commenting from from the sidelines. Do you think Kanye is beyond redemption, even if he goes on an apology tour / rehab / therapy? Yeah, I think Kanye is beyond redemption at this point. I think he's said so many things. I also think Kanye West, I genuinely think, this is going to sound harsh, but I genuinely think that he has mental health issues. And I'm not saying that to excuse what he says. I'm just saying that he doesn't actually understand, to an extent, the way he does things. It's almost like he doesn't understand what he's doing, almost, because in his mind, from like when he tweets crazy shit, the way he formulates those tweets is like, haha, I'm rich, so I can say whatever I want. All of you guys are puppets because you guys don't have the power to say what you want. Because he genuinely thinks that everyone in the world, they're like dimming their lights and they don't want to say problematic things because they're scared of losing their job. But it's like, actually, I just don't think that. I actually just don't even have those thoughts because I don't share those opinions. It's not because I'm afraid to be fired, because someone like me personally, I can't actually be fired. I'm self-employed. So that's not the reason. I just don't have problematic thoughts like that. I don't hate people based on their religion or race. So yeah, he has issues mentally. Okay, someone is saying he's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Is that like an actual confirmed thing, or is that hearsay? Is that hearsay, or is that actually like, yeah, he is a bit of an attention whore. A lot of why he tweets those like outrageous things, sometimes he just wants attention. Like he's trying to rile people up because he gets a kick out of it. I think with someone like Ye, the only way you deal with someone like that is you just ignore them. If everyone ignored Ye, he would lose it. Because a lot of stuff that he does is attention seeking. So if you ignore someone like that, who is, fishing for attention, yeah, they would lose it completely. Ye is the most influential artist living, evident by the persona / branding running with this design / styling / seasonal switch ups till today. I think Ye is influential, but I don't like talking with superlatives. The whole like he's one of the most influential artists living. That's crazy. I mean, there are loads of artists in the world, loads of who are extremely influential in many different aspects of art and creativity. So I don't know. Can we say that Ye is one of the most influential artists? I definitely think he's hugely influential. Style-wise, I think Ye has definitely been responsible for menswear trends. There was a time, not so much now, but there was a time maybe from the late 2000s through the 2010s where almost every menswear fashion trend, you could tie it to Kanye West. I can give you examples. Kanye West wore shutter shades. Everyone wore shutter shades. He wore those in, I think, the Stronger music video. Kanye West wore the Bottega Chelsea boots with the skinny jeans. All of a sudden, gang members were wearing like Bottega boots with skinny jeans. Kanye West wears all those big boots. Everyone wears those big boots. So it's kind of one of those things.
I saw these lot.
Look at you making an appearance.
These lot told me I have to beat some allegations. They said we know
what
you're
allegation?
In the next. Niggas were saying we know you're in the next room.
It's because I baited you out. That's why.
I didn't have my sound on.
Yeah.
Well, what was said? I
much.
I told them I predicted the show and they weren't believing me.
Yeah, you did, to be fair. You said number of looks. You said there'll be 76 looks. You said there'll be a lot of brown. Granted, I think that's kind of a cheat because they already said that brown is the new indigo.
I knew before I read that. Wait, I can't say hi. Oh, okay. She said no. she said no.
Wait, who votes reform? Who are they talking about?
They claim I vote reform.
That's crazy. Why do they think you vote reform?
I voted Leave and Brexit.
That's crazy.
Well, anyway, I'm off. I'm watching a Nickelodeon show at the moment, guys. So
hey, have fun, bro.
Go tap back in. Get in the chat. Yeah, I'll try and read in the chat a bit, but I need to finish this season. We've got 3 episodes left and then we're out of here.
Yo, you guys are moving crazy. You're about to go to bed at my time at 4 a.m. or something.
Bro,
crazy.
It's only 2. Calm down.
Only 2. This guy's acting like
we went to Gumbo Yaya today. See, they know the law. They asked about Gumbo Yaya.
Yeah, we went today. We went today.
Huh? But I don't know. They just asked. These guys be knowing stuff these days.
Yeah. Okay, someone's saying his influence on music up until Life of Pablo, his fashion sense was copied by everyone, especially in the Fear of God era. Yeah, I mean, I did mention that. That was what I was talking about. Like, he was responsible for setting a lot of trends in menswear, right? Like, he influenced the world with minimalism, or at least made it popular. Okay. Influenced the world. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened there. My internet disconnected. This is what happens when I'm not at home and I have my trusty internet. But anyway, what I was saying about this is that you need to remember that there are segments of fashion. So when you say things like he influenced the world with minimalism, like, remember, I'm a fashion journalist. Like, I studied fashion historically at school. So I also have a historical context and then also like a contemporary context on things because I cover fashion in real time. Now, there are segments of fashion. So in menswear, especially, I think that's where Kanye West's influence is. Now, women's wear is a bigger category than menswear, first of all. So women's wear trends are always going to be bigger than menswear trends because the women's wear industry is bigger than menswear. So you can't say that he influenced the world with minimalism when Kanye West's influence is more on the menswear side than it is on the women's wear side. So I think that's like, Kanye West is super influential, but like saying things like he influenced the world and shit is, I think it's going a bit too far when like a lot of women's wear trends aren't really influenced by what Kanye West was doing. That's more of a menswear thing. And that's more in the segment of a specific type of menswear. There are literally people that set trends in tailoring. And that's where you see the kind of tailoring that men wear in finance, that work in finance, or men that work in law, which is a totally different segment of fashion. So like saying something like, you know, he influenced the world with minimalism, I think is like going too far. Also historically, when we think of minimalism, we think of the 90s, we think of the likes of Jill Sander, we think of the likes of Helmut Lang. So once again, this is the problem. Like, I can give Kanye West credit and say that he influenced a lot of menswear without going as far as saying he influenced the world and the way that the whole world dresses. You know what I mean? That's going too far. What about him styling Kim Kardashian? Would you say him styling Kim is an influence on women's fashion, like Skims? That's maybe easy. Yes. So I would say that in a certain segment of women's wear, he had a lot of influence in the sense of the way that he was styling Kim Kardashian, and therefore the way that women dressed was very much informed by the way that Kim dressed. However, the problem is Kim is influential, but not as influential as Kanye West. And what I mean by that is, if Kanye West, there was a point in time, let's say like the 2010s, if Kanye West wore something, a lot of men were wearing that thing. Now, flipping it to Kim Kardashian, if Kim Kardashian wore something, there's only a certain type of woman that would want to dress like Kim. Because the way that Kim dresses is very like, the way that Kim was dressing, low-key, was kind of like, especially at a certain point, was like Atlanta stripper core. And a lot of women don't want to dress like that. But on the flip side, Kanye West would wear like Chelsea boots and skinny jeans. Like, there's a lot of men that want to dress like that. So there are a lot of men that would be willing to dress like Ye than women that would be willing to dress like Kim. So there were still a lot of people. I mean, Kim is ultra famous, right? So obviously there's a lot of women that want to be like her. That's why she's so famous. And that's why when she, promotes a product, it sells out. But her influence is not as strong as Kanye West. It just isn't. That's why a lot of what Kim does and a lot of what Kim is basically Kanye West. Even Skims, to be honest, her brand Skims, as successful as it is, just looks like an offshoot of Yeezy season 1 and season 2. It literally looks like Kim Kardashian copied Kanye West's idea and just turned it into shapewear. The funny thing, let me actually Google this stuff, because Yeezy season 1 literally had shapewear. It's literally just Yeezy season 1 rebranded into a different brand under Kim. And then they just turned it with marketing, turned it into something else. And then they're like, this is a brand. And it became like $1 billion brand. But that is all Kanye West. So once again, Ye is way, way, way more influential than Kim. Kim is also not that creative. All her creative ideas are an offshoot of something that Ye came up with a while ago. Like here, like, look, this is Yeezy season 1. So you can see like the shapewear, like what's on the left here. Like, you look at the back, you look at also the tone, the kind of cream, brown, black, beige, maroon. Literally, that is literally what that's Skims. That's literally what Skims is. There's literally no difference. Let's see, Yeezy season 2. It's literally, yeah. This color palette here is literally like Skims' first 3 years. Quite literally. IG baddie aesthetic, 1-to-1 ATL stripper core because the audience has a crossover. Yeah. I think Kim Kardashian had a lot of influence when it came to the way that IG baddies wanted to dress, but I don't think why I think that a lot of Kim Kardashian's influence is very much like online shit is because versus Ye, where Ye would wear things and you look on the street and people actually wear it, is because I don't know any woman personally that wants to dress like Kim Kardashian. I don't even know one. But I know loads of men that want to dress like Ye. And there was a point in time, a lot of them got into fashion because of Ye. A lot of them were dressing like Ye at a certain point. There's very few women I know personally that literally want to be like the Kardashians. I want to dress like Kim Kardashians. I want to wear like cycling shorts with blazers. Like, there's very few. This is where we are now with just copy and paste. That's why I have fashion fatigue. Oh, are you talking about Kim Kardashian completely copying Kanye West's idea and just copying Yeezy season 1 and season 2 and rebranding it into like an actual brand? It is quite funny, to be fair. It is quite funny how she did that, but those of us that know where the idea came from. Every Armenian person I know thinks Kim is a disgrace. Damn. You guys in the chat today are on one. Oh my God. Wait, she said he helped her map skims out. Yeah, I mean, that's obvious, isn't it? She is honest about it. She is. I mean, it's obvious. Even if she didn't say so, there wouldn't be any question. I agree. She became the acceptable face of something black women and the mixed girlies had already been doing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she normalized things that already existed. So yeah. Anyway, going back to, I think it was Armor God that had that comment about Kanye West, I think, it was a cool comment, to be fair, because it created a whole discussion. That's why I think Kanye West's influence is more on the menswear side. When you think of women's wear, let me tell you people that are actually influential in women's wear. So people that are influential in women's wear, people like Emmanuel Alt, or people like who else? I'm trying to think of like really like people that create women's wear trends. Emmanuel Alt is definitely there. Corinne Rottfeld, not anymore, but there was a point in time when Corinne Rottfeld, she would because how women's wear goes a lot of times is like you have the likes of Corinne Rottfeld, yes, the Olsen twins, exactly. They're super influential, right? So people like the Olsen twins, people like Corinne Rottfeld, they influence what the cool people and celebrities wear. They create trends within their celebrity friend groups and within their high society friendship groups. And then everyone wants to dress like those people. A lot of women want to dress like those people. And then that subsequently leads to what the trend becomes. So those are the people that are influential in women's wear, not Kim Kardashian. Yeah, like Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, exactly. Like those are the people that are, yeah, exactly. Sarah Harris, Lucinda Chen. These are the people that are influential in women's wear. Like Phoebe Philo. Like these are the people that cause women's wear trends and change the way that women dress, not Kim Kardashian. I think sometimes if you spend too much time on Instagram, you start to think that people want to dress like Kim, but people don't want to dress like Kim. It's also day to day, people can't even dress like that. Like you can't go to work and dress the way Kim dresses for the most part. So like that's why a lot of people can't dress like that also, which is why the way she dresses isn't really relevant to the way that day-to-day women dress. Exactly, like women's wear in the 2010s starts and ends with Phoebe Philo. And even the way that women are dressing now with this whole the row aesthetic, they call it the man repeller thing, is because of Phoebe Philo. It's an offshoot of Phoebe Philo. And when he said, I mean, some of the girls try. I think you underestimate how much these people like Kim convinced them business casual in the club was hot. I don't know, because I don't know though. Because genuinely, the woman in the chat, how high do you think Kim Kardashian's influence is on the way that the day-to-day woman dresses? Do you think I'm underestimating it? I'm a dude and Phoebe is who inspires my clothing choices. Yeah, I find people like, even I think that Lil Kim, this might be a hot take. Crucify me if you want. Yeah, exactly. Like Rihanna is way, way, way more influential to me than Kim Kardashian. Like, honestly, it might be a hot take, but I think people like Lil Kim, people like Rihanna from a style standpoint are definitely more influential than Kim Kardashian. Like, I don't know. I just think people overblow her influence. I get it. She has loads of followers. There are many different reasons why she has a lot of followers that I'm not going to get into, but I think people see that and overestimate influence and impact culturally. I'm a black woman, so you already know my answer. Yes, I do. Lil Kim being more influential is not a hot take. Obviously, because Lil Kim is not as influential now, but if we're talking like early 2000s, 90s, It could be a hot take, and that was also a time when Kim Kardashian wasn't relevant at all. So, no one is recreating Kim K looks and being respected for it. That's true. Kim K is not a trendsetter. She follows trends. She's an icon, but not a fashionista. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, someone earlier said that Kim Kardashian is someone said Kim Kardashian is more influential on like beauty trends than fashion. I can definitely agree. I mean, Jesus. Everyone always says that the reason why a lot of women get BBLs is because of Kim Kardashian. So I can definitely agree with that. And then just the whole family, like Kylie Jenner making lip kits and saying that, if you buy this lip kit, you'll have lips like me, but then actually it came out that she had lip fillers and like, bro, that whole family is just crazy. But but yeah, that's where we are. Woman got pregnant to imitate Rihanna's look. Wait, is that a thing? Okay, I did not see that. Crush on You music video shaped my entire wardrobe. Iconic, by the way. Lil Kim, Crush on You. For people that don't know. Iconic, iconic, iconic. I think, depending on how old some people are watching this, you might think that me saying that Lil Kim was influential is a hot take, but maybe because you guys aren't remembering, there was a point in time when Kim Kardashian wasn't relevant at all. And there were people like Lil Kim that set a lot of trends, and was, setting how a lot of women were dressing for sure. Yeah, this is what I can agree with. She commercializes trends. I definitely agree with that when it comes to Kim Kardashian. She's about to buy Jane Birkin's Birkin. I mean, she can definitely afford it. But I didn't know. I had no idea that people are getting pregnant to imitate. I need to see this, guys. Can someone send me like some videos on this via Instagram DM? Because that is absolutely insane. That's insane. My only point in bringing Kim up was that Kanye influenced the Kardashian style and style Kim K at one point. She was only fashionable because of him, in my opinion. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, like Kim Kardashian, who talks about the way Kim Kardashian dresses now? No one. Who talks about Kim Kardashian's style before Kanye West? No one. So I can definitely agree with you in terms of that. Jesus Christ, that's harsh. I think we just live inside of hoe culture. What the hell is hoe culture? Kim definitely helped kickstart that decades ago, and the Kardashians carried the torch. Can you explain to me what hoe culture is? I don't know what you're referring to there. That's crazy. What, speaking for America only? Yeah, but remember, you did say that Kanye West influenced like the world, and the world is not America. So that's another thing. Like, when you talk about influence of certain people, it's like, the world is a very big place. Kim Kardashian shaped the aspirational lifestyle from a mass consumer perspective, the filter dream, the purchasable identity, but women like Corinne Rockfeld, Carla Bruni, Micha Prada, okay, Maria Carla Boscona are a different class entirely. They don't sell aspiration, they define the codes. That's real influence with a capital I. Yeah, I totally agree. That's basically what I was referring to earlier when I mentioned some of those names in terms of like who actually influences women's wear. Kardashian dressed similarly to Kamala Harris prior to Ye coming. Did it? Oh my gosh, that was actually quite funny. That was quite funny. Are we sure we want to talk about women's choices with their bodies? I mean, to be honest, I it's not my place to really talk about what women decide to do with their bodies because I'm a man, right? So like that's not really. I can talk about clothes, like we can talk about women's wear and who influences women's wear because that's about fashion. But if we get into having deep dives about like why women choose to have surgery and all that sort of stuff, that's not really my bag, to be honest. Unless I'm just making statements like, you know, a lot of people say that the reason why a lot of women do BBLs is because of Kim Kardashian, then I can talk about that. But in terms of like deep diving into the psychology and sociology as to why women do certain things, that's not really for me to say. That's not really my area of expertise, to be honest. Paris Hilton is more of a hot mess style icon than an actual trend. Oh, are people throwing names into the chat in terms of who they think are trendsetters? Is Paris Hilton a trendsetter? Well, women dressing like Paris Hilton, maybe. I think, especially in the Y2K era, when people are making those like Y2K mood boards on Tumblr, Paris Hilton was definitely on those mood boards. However, the Y2K thing, as much as in fashion we like to act like it was this really big thing, I think that was kind of niche. It was a lot more niche than we give it credit, to be honest. It was a lot more niche than we gave it credit. But I'd say that Paris Hilton is definitely a fashion icon. Trendsetter is like slightly. I think she didn't, unless you want to say she's responsible for the Y2K trend, which I don't think. But when it came to when the Y2K trend was a thing, she definitely influenced a few trends within that trend for sure. I think of Paris as the epitome of Y2K style, but not a trendsetter, I guess. She's a doll, not an icon. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I don't know. I remember Paris Hilton and her million product lines. You guys are funny. Paris Hilton had Kim K begging it to be her. That is very true. There was a point in time when Kim Kardashian wanted to be Paris Hilton's friend so bad. That's very true. That's well documented. Yeah, Paris made around that Y2K time. I think she made some sizable contributions for sure. Money is saying Paris Hilton made kits and Juicy Couture and LV bags, all very popular. Diggy and Angela Simmons, the real star icons, do the Urbans. I think she helped popularize the Von Dutch hat, Dior mules, and bubbles. Yeah, so see what I'm saying? Because a lot of the Von Dutch hats, like when I think of the mood boards back then on Tumblr, that's literally what was on the mood boards. So that's the thing. Like I said earlier, I think she influenced a lot of trends within the trend for sure. Why to get so many trends? Arguably, this logo mania that has run rampant was popular then. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what I don't think they're back anymore. There was a time they were coming back, maybe like a few years ago. Even Juicy Couture came back for a bit, but I think that's kind of dead now. I think people are focusing on other things. Soldier Boy style icon. It's a hot take, but he kind of is. He kind of. I think a lot of people wore Bapesters because of Soldier Boy. Well, okay. A lot of people wore Bapesters because of Pharrell Williams and then Soldier Boy and Lil Wayne. Because Pharrell Williams, from what I remember, was one of the first people to wear Babes. And then, like celebrity wise in the UK. And then you had Lil Wayne and Soldier Boy wearing them shortly after. The tall tees thing, yeah, Soldier Boy is definitely a part of that. Those were damn. the way fashion has changed over the years is actually quite insane. Like how drastic it is. Who are some of the biggest fashion influences on men's and women's fashion in 2025, in your opinion? So 2025 women's fashion, Olsen twins, for sure. Women's West Side, Olsen twins. I think that's undeniable right now. Literally, all of fashion right now is like literally every single brand is rebranding into this quiet luxury thing. The whole quiet luxury trend is really basically partially because of the Olsen twins. Also, like you have fast fashion brands trying to rebrand into this quiet luxury thing, like a Pretty Little Thing. You have Zara. You have every single brand. So Olsen twins, I don't think that's undeniable right now. So Olsen twins, as far as the women's wear side. The menswear side, who's influential in menswear right now? I'd say Playboy Carti is very influential. I mean, Playboy Carti with the whole opium thing and that whole like Demna Balenciaga, I think he really helped to push that aesthetic. So on the menswear side, Playboy Carti, menswear side, Olsen twins. Let me think. Who else is like in 2025 like really influential aesthetically in the way that people are dressing right now? Okay, Jennifer says ASAP Rocky. I don't know. I think ASAP Rocky is not as influential as he was, but it's not. It's more to do with because he's taken a back seat. He's kind of just chilling now. He's just, doing his stuff at Ray-Bans and doing whatever he's doing. So yeah. I'm trying to think. Who else? Carti wants to be Echo so bad. I can see that. That's funny. I'm trying to think. Guys, help me in the chat. Who else is influencing the way that women and men, I said mess, and men are dressing in 2025? Basically, whatever the rappers do. For men, it is whoever the hottest rapper is. Really? Who's the hottest rapper right now? Probably Drake. Do people want to dress like Drake? I strongly feel like people don't want to dress like Drake. Who else is like a really big rapper? No one really dresses like Travis Scott, and no one dresses like Drake. And those are two of the biggest quote unquote rappers right now. If you want to call Drake a rapper. Like no one wants to dress like Drake. I don't even think Drake has a style. I don't even know what, like if you were to say what is Drake's style, I don't know. I actually don't know. Yeah, Travis Scott has his sneakers, but in terms of clothing, like no one really dresses like Travis Scott either. So Lil Yachty, I fuck with Lil Yachty a lot. I like his style. I think he dresses quite cool. However, I think that he dresses so differently day to day that it's kind of hard to dress like Lil Yachty because he kind of doesn't dress one way, if you know what I mean. He dresses like a lot of different ways. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to dress like him because he's quite random style-wise, which I like because I think he has a lot of like versatility and range with his style. Okay, finally, yes. Tyler, yes. Yes. Tyler, yes. Tyler, the creator, yes. Yes. Tyler, definitely. Tyler, 100%. To the guys that mentioned Tyler, 100%. Yeah, Tyler's definitely one of those, for sure. And Tyler's someone that actually has a style that I can pinpoint. And a lot of people dress like him. A lot of people buy everything that he produces, so they can dress more like him. Those are the kind of people that are Tyler the Creator collectors. They bought the Lacoste Tyler the Creator collab. They have all the Golf Le Fleurs. They bought the Louis Vuitton Tyler the Creator collab. Yeah, definitely. Everybody wants to dress like Daniel Simmons. Yeah. Let me open Instagram quickly. I mean, Daniel Simmons has that like. I'll show you guys if you guys don't know who Daniel Simmons. I like Daniel Simmons. He's a fellow YouTuber, content creator kind of guy. He has a cool style. It's just like clean. But there are a lot of, I think that Daniel Simmons spawned a certain type of content. I don't know, but on YouTube now, I see a lot of people that dress like Daniel Simmons and make content like Daniel Simmons. Like they literally, I'll tell you guys the content type, right? It's like you have a table in the background, you have a diptyque candle lit in the background. You kind of have an all white background, perfect lighting. You wear like the perfect crisply ironed plain white tee. They make like reviews of Uniqlo U every time it comes out. It's like that kind of content. Now, I'm a big fan of Daniel Simmons because I think that he was the one that really started the whole thing. But I think now a lot of people are like copying him doing that. And now it's become like a whole content category on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, where it's like this aesthetic menswear thing. It's kind of like an offshoot of, I'm not sure how many of you guys have been into fashion for a really long time, but I'm like a fashion geek. There was a time when on social media, there was something we used to refer to as hashtag menswear. That was when, for guys that remember, people used to wear suits with common projects, especially those like pink common projects with navy suits. That was like a whole thing, right? That is kind of like the content creators that would dress like that. That's the content category that has now been formed on TikTok and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, a lot of men do want to dress like Daniel Simmons, for sure. I definitely think that Daniel Simmons has a lot of influence because he just has like a big following, right? So a lot of men do want to dress like him. And to be honest, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think Daniel Simmons' dress is nice. So if more men dress like him, to be fair, it would just mean more men dress really nicely. However, there is something to be said about like individual style. It's also good to see people dressing their own way, being creative with the way they dress. Leah said yes. That's why I said this is GQ in 2016 coded. Oh my God, that was an era. The common projects, Achilles low with the navy suit and the brandless war hat, cashmere cap, But yeah, this is the Daniel Simmons stuff for people that aren't aware. This is basically like Daniel. It's like the aesthetic thing, but like literally, it's like a meme. Like the kind of people that copy Daniel Simmons and make that kind of content. Like I said, it's like very much diptyque candle, Cartier Santos watch, or Rolex Datejust, plain white tee, cashmere cap. Like white sneakers, like Lacoste sneakers or Common Project sneakers, or what else do those kind of guys wear? Those kind of things, wide trousers. Yeah, it's really something that is really algorithm friendly. Yeah, it really is. Like Uniqlo U drop, it's just that's the vibe. That's definitely the vibe. Yeah, like Aesop soap. That's the aesthetic though. Like when they vlog and they make those like get ready with me, it's always that soap. It always is. What fragrance do these kind of people always use? They always use Le Labo fragrances or like diptyque fragrances, always. Always diptyque or Le Labo. Or always diptyque or Le Labo. What other aspects of their life have I observed? It's like I'm the David Attenborough of literally fashion. If you come over here, there is a crazy animal in the wild. This animal is seen to be burning a diptyque candle. Let's go close, let's go close. Through a tiny observation, you can now see this specimen spraying some Le Labo. Le Labo is something that is very vital to this creature, this mammal, this species of mammal. Yes, oh my God. Vinyl records. See, all of you guys in this chat know exactly the kind of aesthetic I'm talking about. Birkenstock, Boston clogs. Exactly. 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 Byredo. Yeah, Le Labo, Byredo, Aesop, Holy Trinity. Yes. Tosin knows. Tosin is very aware. Tosin is very aware. Tosin is very aware. What other things do you guys want me to talk about? I want to chat with you guys for a bit on the stream because I haven't streamed in a while. Even though I have a fashion event to go to quite literally at 9 a.m. And right now it's almost 3 a.m. But hey, the things I do for the guys in the chat. What other things are we discussing apart from hashtag menswear? Someone's asking about Hector Bellerin. I think Hector Bellerin, I think he plays in the La Liga right now, right? Or does he play in a different league now? But I think he's kind of out of sight, out of mind, but he had a good run at one point. What showrooms are you planning on going to? So I'm going to go to the BFC showroom, the one where, you know, they cancelled London Fashion Week for. So that should be very interesting going there. I'm going to the showroom. So for guys that don't know, Matthew Williams sold a leaks and he's starting a new brand, a new venture. And part of the launch of it, he's going to showcase some of what his new project is via a showroom. So I'm going to visit that showroom. I'm going to the Leon Emmanuel Blanc showroom, which is really cool because I love that brand. I've made a video about them visiting that showroom, I think a year ago or like 2 years ago. So it's good to be meeting up with the guys from there. I really like their clothes. What other showrooms am I going to? I mean, I'm going to a 3 Paradise showroom. I'm also interviewing the creative director. I have an interview with Egon Lab too. Those are actually today, technically. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I'll have to look at my schedule, to be honest. Someone is saying Matthew has lost his touch. I just think it's more of like an out of sight, out of mind. I think he's kind of, since he left Givenchy, he's kind of just been a bit silent. We haven't really seen much from him since he left Givenchy, so that's kind of why it's just out of sight, out of mind. I wouldn't say he's lost his touch. I think let's see what he does with this new venture. That's why I'm really curious to go to the showroom and see what everything looks like. Be interesting to see. Also, guys, by the way, I'm streaming via this lavalier mic, and I can't actually check the battery level. So if you can't hear me at one point, it means that this mic is dead. So just let me know, and then I'll change mics. Thoughts on the Dior teasers? Oh, so this is really cool. Let me give my 2 cents on this one actually, because this is something that everyone's talking about right now. And I mean, the Dior show is in a few days, and I definitely will be doing a stream about that. So let's see. Let me go on JW Anderson's. Jonathan Anderson. Instagram page. Jonathan Anderson. There we go. Luke said, please hate it. It's because I don't really know like what, please hate it. That's crazy. I don't really know what exactly he's going for, because at the end of the day, they're just teasers. So let's just start from really here. New beginnings. So he has kind of like, sorry, this is JW Anderson. Let me go on the Dior stuff. Yeah, it's from the Basquiat stuff. So first of all, this was like really contentious because people were saying that, you know, he would never himself put Dior, plaster Dior on his face. So it's kind of like weird to see Dior kind of written across his face like that. The second thing is, what is very interesting is the fact that he's not wearing Dior. And brands are always so like anal about, if it's a Dior campaign, the person has to be wearing Dior. So I would have thought that when they did this campaign, they would have cropped out what he's wearing. You know what I mean? And they would have just like had his face and then put Dior there. So that was fascinating. I wonder if there's anything important to gain from that, personally. But I think a lot of the backlash was just like, you know, it's just off brand for him. Like he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't agree to that himself. So that was the big conversation there. Of course, a lot of people was talking about his interpretation of the Dior book tote and talking about a lot of like historical books and stuff that he's referencing with a lot of the totes. So this idea that we're going to change, people are saying they're forcing it off the top. Yeah, I know they can't change it, but it's just like it's Dior, they can do anything. They have the money to do whatever. And yeah, so the tote bags, obviously there's controversy around the tote bags that we've covered. The tote bags are also a product that does really well for Dior. So it's like, how can he change that in his own way? I think this is really interesting because when Maria Gautier-Chiuri was at Dior, all the Dior book totes, like let me go on Vogue Runway and just show you what I'm talking about, aligned with whatever the concept was of the show. So because we know that Jonathan Anderson is the kind of designer that likes to, do the sort of conceptual thing at Loewe, it was all about referencing art history. He's kind of bringing a bit of that. So instead of having Dior book totes where they're just using all these like embroidery techniques, instead, what he's doing is, he's kind of referencing books and art and all that sort of stuff. And he's going to turn that into themed tote bags. So you can also kind of date those tote bags in a way where it's like, okay, that's the, book tote from the Spring Summer 26 collection. That's from Spring Summer 28 because it's very imbued and tied into the theme of that collection. I wonder if that is going to actually, if the Dior customer is going to take to it, because I think that the Dior customer, they want Dior plastered across their book tote, which is what Maria Gautier-Chiuri was giving them and selling in the truckload because of that. So yeah, but let me just pull up Christian Dior on Vogue Runway so I can show you what I mean when I'm talking about the book totes. Someone is saying, I thought the Basquiat image was more of a concept image than a campaign. No, I mean, it's a campaign. I'm in Paris right now. I've seen, and other people that live in Paris will say this, I've seen the imagery plastered across Paris. So, I mean, unless we're just not going to call that a campaign, I don't know, but I've literally seen it plastered across Paris. So, yeah. Okay, let's go. Christian Dior, Vogue Runaway. Especially the resort collections also, you tend to see a lot of the book totes. But let's go pre-425. Let's see if she has some book totes for us. Why don't they have the detail looks on these shows? Maybe because it's a resort collection. But I just want to show you guys what I mean with the book totes. Skip. So yeah, this is an example, right? So you would notice that whatever the embroidery is of this book tote ties into the theme of whatever the collection is and the aesthetic of the collection. So I think it's on brand for J.W. Anderson to do the same thing, but just in his art history and, like book history, film. J.W. Anderson likes to reference art history, films, and books. So there's not much to it other than he's just kind of doing what he always does. And then obviously like the Andy Warhol stuff too is just cool, I guess. This was another thing that people are talking about, like the Mbappe campaign going on. That was kind of like a teaser for what his deal would look like. I couldn't really deduce much from this, to be honest. I saw a lot of different people making different speculations. I literally saw people going as crazy as like, did you see all the stripes? This means like at a time of recession, like when we see all these stripes, and it's like, okay. It's Mbappe wearing a tie and a suit. But I'm curious to see, like, because I think a lot of this will make a lot of sense, especially because Jonathan Anderson is literally hashtag Dior Summer 26. So it's clearly to do with the show that he's about to drop. So a lot of this will be a lot more clear when the show drops. You've got the pins, the different pins and stuff. This is really cool though. Like the different animals that are used for like safety pin holders. That's different. I wonder if they're going to sell those. Those will be really expensive. And obviously a Dior label. So yeah, there's not too much to deduce from what has been released so far, but I'm honestly just looking forward to his debut. I just really want to see like a different direction out of curiosity. Out of curiosity. The psychophants in the replies are the worst thing about this. Oh gosh. What are people saying in the comments? 1 second. He's the perfect ambassador. Okay, people just talking about Mbappe being. I mean, yeah. I mean, Mbappe is so associated with France, and I mean, Dior is such a French brand, right? Mbappe is like someone that has won the World Cup for France. I mean, he was the talisman football player for Paris Saint-Germain before he eventually left and went to Real Madrid. So in a way, I guess so, if they wanted like a sports-leaning ambassador. It's less on brand now that he's at Real Madrid. It would have been more on brand if he was still at Paris Saint-Germain, but I get it. Still a good host. You good? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I chopped my keys somewhere. I'm just real quick.
I mean, you can grab mine in the meantime.
Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Whoa. Oh, I thought you had someone on.
No, people are asking me about what I think about all the teasers from JW Anderson around Dior.
He's doing a lot.
So yeah, what do you guys think about the rollout via JW Anderson in terms of teasers? No, we haven't talked about Saint Laurent. I can talk about Saint Laurent quickly if you want. But like everyone forgetting that Dior is a bourgeois house for bourgeois people. Like I feel Anderson has zero of that in him at all. I think historically it was, but not anymore. I don't think Dior is a bourgeois house anymore. I don't. Dior in 2025, I don't really associate it with that, to be very honest. Some people saying predictable, very mid rollout. Can't wait for JW Anderson to reference Jack and Pollock. Oh gosh. I'm very excited for his first show, Jonathan Anderson. However, I'm a little concerned if he can handle all of Dior, especially considering that he'll be doing 18 collections a year, including couture. Yeah, we'll see. Someone told me that JW Anderson is taking a step back at his eponymous label, because I was under the impression that he was doing all these collections at Dior, but then also having to do loads of stuff at his namesake. But someone actually told me that that works for JW Anderson, like the brand, that there are actually people being put in place so that he can focus more on Dior. So that was interesting. That was interesting. But yeah, anything else you guys want me to look at? Someone said Saint Laurent. Let's look at Saint Laurent Paris. I thought the Saint Laurent Paris show, it was cool, but it just reminded me of, not in a bad way, by the way, it's just the silhouette that Anthony Vaccarello is going for these days. It's kind of like the, let's say the past 4 seasons they've been doing. Is this like, I'll show you what I mean. This like ultra boxy thing going on, like these huge wide shoulders. He's done that for like the past 4 collections right now. Someone is saying it regressed slightly. Yeah, it did, because I think the last menswear show I reviewed was the one with the big boots. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool. Would I wear a lot of stuff in this collection? Yes. But it was kind of more of the same of what we've come to expect. Like if you were to predict before the show happened, what would the show look like? You could have quite easily predicted the show. Something that stood out to me from a styling standpoint was this idea of, you know, having ties tucked into your shirt. I'm wondering if they're trying to make that a thing, and if they're even going to design ties that are specifically done for that. Here it kind of looks like a last minute consideration because of how the shirt here is bending oddly, but then it's still buttoned normally. So it's almost like the shirt kind of turns and you can button it the other way around to allow for you to put your tie through here and create that visual representation. It's either that or it's all just one piece. It's either that or it's all just one piece, but I can't really tell because I wasn't at the show. But to me, it looks like it's tucked in. But I just don't know, man. Luke says now we're tucking in ties, we're lost. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on the Saint Laurent collection, to be honest. It's the same exact silhouette that he's been using now for the past like 3 to 4 seasons. Also, what is it with this is a Prada-ism, right? This is what Mucha Prada and Ras Simmons have been doing in fashion. What is it with tailoring coupled with these ultra short shorts? Like what is the whole focus on this? Do you think that the tie inside of the shirt was an ode to Yves Saint Laurent? And can that tie styling become a trend blowing up into the winter of menswear mainstream? I mean, everything that he does at the house has one ode to Yves Saint Laurent, one way or another. But the problem is, because I've studied Yves Saint Laurent's work extensively, if Yves Saint Laurent wanted to do because yes, Yves Saint Laurent used to wear a lot of ties, he did. Did Yves Saint Laurent himself wear a lot of suits? He did. However, if Yves Saint Laurent himself was to make this kind of detail of a tucked in tie, I just know he would execute it way better than this. So that's kind of what is disappointing me about this, because it just looks messy. It doesn't look right. It's the execution that isn't there for me. Is that even an example where short shorts can work? I mean, if you're a skinny legend, maybe. Someone like me, my thighs would chafe to death if I wore those kind of shorts. My thighs will literally be bleeding by the time I get home. So no, thank you. But for the skinny legends out there, I think you could definitely make it work. For sure. This is the same as last year. I've noticed throughout the years, Anthony has focused on consistency and focusing on a specific silhouette each season. Yeah, for sure. Although I think it has been like a continuation over the past 4 seasons, to be honest. I had short shorts on an Afrikaans farm staple. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of hate that Prada's menswear is getting, but I specifically love the accessories that Rafa and Mucha made. I like, you know what? Let me look at it live on stream now. I haven't actually seen the Prada show, but I know a lot of people didn't like it because I saw kind of a lot of the coverage, but I haven't seen it. So let me have a quick look. And I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I need to go to bed because I have so much stuff to do tomorrow. Well, today, technically. Let me have a look at this Prada show. Okay, spring, summer. Oh, so they even continued the short shorts thing. I didn't even know that they were doing the ultra. These aren't even short shorts anymore. These are nappies. These are pants, and not the American version of pants, the English version of pants. These are literally knickers. Like these are literally like these aren't even short shorts anymore. Okay, let's see. Obviously, in my own time after the stream, I need to like look deeper into the concept. Okay, so they're always playing around with footwear. So they have these penny loafers, but then instead of a toe box, they're actually like a normal toe box, they're slippers. I think those shoes look goofy, but I like it though. Those shoes look extremely goofy, but I like it because it's kind of different. But those shorts are insane. Oh, so in every look they just have those like knickers. Okay, that's cool. What's the okay? It's kind of like a Western kind of thing. Okay. What are these? Peaks End, Lover's Lake. That's such a Rassimans thing. Flip flops. I was just making flip flop versions out of everything. Okay, interesting. This whole roll up the sleeves blazer, they've done this for a few seasons now, so I've come to understand this. That's something they've done a few times. This they've done. Do you remember? Let me open. They did this kind of styling with the roll neck stuff in the debut collection. I'll show you guys. In the debut collection between like Mucho Prada and Rassimans. What season was that? I'm not really good with dates. I just remember ideas and aesthetics, but I'm not the best with dates. Let me open the date of that. That was, yeah, this one. Spring, summer 21. It was this, I think. So yeah, they were playing with this like roll neck thing, but this one had like the holes in it. And then over the seasons, they've kind of just developed like different ways of styling it with coats and like having different gestures. So a lot of these ideas are things that I've seen from Prada since, you know, the start of them being together as designers. Yeah, this look, I've kind of seen this already with the stripes. This reminds me of what Ras Simmons was doing at Calvin Klein, right? Where he had those trousers with the inspired by like American marching bands with the stripes. So he's bringing a lot of those sensibilities to Prada. Very interesting. Okay, the styling, once again, I've seen that. The rolling up the blazer sleeves. I've seen that. I've seen this with the... Tell me that these are the kind of slippers that African uncles wear. This is definitely African uncle coded, for sure. I see more African men wearing those kind of slippers than European men, for sure. That's for the African market, for sure. The rich African uncles. Okay, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. I've seen this before. Okay, this is cool. Let me look at the ribbing here. This is kind of a cool detail, uneven. That's cool. Ultra short shorts once again. At least these actually look like shorts. These don't look like knickers. But yeah. Are those plimsolls? No way. Prada are making overpriced plimsolls. Guys, when I was young, plimsolls used to cost like £5 because they're so cheap to make. There is no way Prada is making plimsolls and taxing people on this cheaply made. Look at how cheaply made. Even the glue is already kind of rubbing off here. Look at how cheaply made these shoes are. They could have at least made it out of leather, you know, like try elevate a plimsoll. It's literally the same cotton canvas with the, wow. That's terrible. That's actually terrible. Okay, seeing that. You guys remember this from, let me keep showing you guys the season. So that you guys can know that I'm really about this. Like I review every season, so I can always recall back to seasons when certain things were done. So when I say like, see that, you know, I'm not bullshitting. So spring, summer 24, right? The idea of this collection was, and the menswear show is kind of the same. I mean, all of the menswear shows and womenswear shows kind of mirror each other. So the idea of this collection was having a specific silhouette of a shirt and using that silhouette to make all the garments, right? So the shirt has the same silhouette as the blazers, like the same length of sleeves, the same amount of boxiness, the same length body-wise, like you can see it here, same silhouette, same silhouette. And then this collection was so successful that they decided to kind of cement that silhouette as a house code and just change it in different ways from show to show. So when you see this kind of piece, this is an evolution of what came in that collection. So once again, when I say I've seen that before, seen this without the knickers. Also, okay, I'm not sure if they're doing it this season. There was a season, you guys will remember. Actually, let me recall once again, just so I can show you guys I'm really about that life. Let me see what season it was. This is what I mean. I'm really bad with dates, but I can recall. Yes, this is this season. It's spring summer 25. So in spring summer 25, what they were doing is they were playing a lot with like sleeves and necklines and stuff like this, and like different ways that you can wear like different things on a neckline or on the shoulders and like things like that, right? And then they also used like wiring here. So look at the collar detail. So they use wiring to allow you to like move the collars in different ways. So yeah, that's basically what they've now brought into this collection. So when I see the wonky collars, I'm like, yep, seen that already. Moving on. Okay, seen that, they've done that already, they've done that already. Okay, this is new, but the neckline thing is not new. So this, for people that don't know, is referencing like the Prada triangles, because the triangle logo, because when you look at it on both sides, it's kind of cut out in a triangle in that way. So yeah, that's what that is. But the print is different. I haven't seen them use that at Prada yet. Okay, I've seen this already. So okay, so this is like the print section with that same thing. So this is very much like more of the same from what I've seen. I just find the plimsolls are insane though. The Prada plimsolls are insane. Like, I just want to know who is that much of a brand whore they would buy Prada plimsolls. Really? Really? Yeah, the hats are a new thing, but obviously it's the same hats across most of the looks. Yeah, Spring Summer 25 was full of references and fabric manipulation at Prada. Yeah, I like that collection, to be fair. I liked it for sure. It was even, let me go back to the show to show you guys another thing. So this also idea was big, this kind of belt on the waist of the pieces. Also, okay, so something I didn't know that I found out later. On some of these pieces that went into production, because I have a friend that owns one of these, because there are no belt holes here, right? So you can't actually, like, if it's not your waist. So what they've done is there's an adjustable part here, and some of them, this belt itself is actually, so it's like a built-in adjustable belt. That's also part of the trousers. That was really cool. So yeah, that was a lot more of an interesting collection than this one, in my personal opinion. Okay, moving on. Let me see. Okay, I'm just gonna skip until there's something of interest. Same ideas across. This kind of layering once again at the neckline is something we saw since the debut collection, but they've kept doing that in many different ways. Okay. The roll necks, we've discussed that already. Pastel colors. Okay. Is that it? Oh. Is that it? Oh. Let me see what they said about the collection. Both designers suggested that this collection was in part about disassembling, simplifying, and reducing to the essential. They say that every season. That's what they say every season, though. Oh my God, they say that every season. Like, you guys that are fans of the channel will know that they've said that in the show notes for at least the past 4 collections. Quite literally, like simplifying and paring back. That's literally what they say every season. That's literally what? That's literally what they say every season. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's just not clocking to you that they're standing on business. It's basically a collection where they mix up pieces in the house aesthetic. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, this is actually my first time seeing the new Prada collection. I haven't seen it. I haven't had time. I've been working. But yeah, I don't know. I prefer the Spring Summer 25 collection, menswear, if I'm being honest. That was way better in my opinion. Way more stuff going on. And a ready-to-wear, obviously. Than this collection. I think they've gone a few steps back with this collection, to be honest. So yeah. Any more questions? We can do a quick Q&A and then I need to sleep, guys. But yeah. What if they got really good at understanding what they need to sell and they just create towards that versus them finally trying to express a new image? I just don't. When it comes to runaway clothes, like when I think of what do I see people wearing that's Prada, right? What I see people on the street wearing are the Prada bags and the plain nylon Prada jackets with the triangle Prada logo. Everyone I know that wears Prada for the most part, apart from like fashion people that buy all the runway stuff, most of them literally wear the nylon stuff, like the nylon jackets. That's what people wear for the most part. When's the next stream? So I want to do a stream for JW Anderson's debut show. I won't be able to do it shortly after the show because I think I've got so much stuff on that day. Let me check. I didn't get an invite to the Dior show, so I was hoping to be able to stream at the same time. But then let me check my schedule. What was the reason I couldn't go? I think I had an interview or something. Let me check. 1 second, because I think his show is on Friday. Yes, it's on Friday. Yes, I have an interview. So what I'm planning to do is, yeah, I have a few interviews all the way up until like 6 p.m. So I'm probably going to stream at like 10 p.m. after the interviews when I get back home. But that's going to be a next stream, so on Friday. No, I mean, there's only so many streams I can do when I'm here because I'm in Paris. I'm like all day, most of the days, I'm not even at home. I'm just like working. So I have to have time to actually sit down and look at the collection and analyze it. So yes, I can't really do loads and loads of shows like I would when I'm at home. But yeah, did you hear about the Willie news? Willie possibly going to Fendi? Yeah, I heard about that. It seems like a lot of people have been talking about that, to be honest. But yeah, it's cool. I can see it. I mean, Willie has been in the game for a really long time. He's literally in his 50s right now. So yeah, that would be cool. Are we getting vlog content? Yes, you most certainly are. You most certainly are getting vlog content. But yeah, on that note, guys, I need to go and sleep so I can wake up in time tomorrow. But I shall be seeing you guys on the night of JW Anderson's debut collection. Thank you very much for watching the stream. As always, I appreciate all of you, and I shall be seeing you in the next stream. Thank you.